going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
This effort, and China has big plans for this. They intend to seed their digital yuan into the global environment by giving it away to visitors at next winter's Olympics. When they arrive at the airport, they're going to get yuan digital wallets. They're going to receive digital yuan. They're going to use it throughout their visits to Beijing, and then they're going to take it back to their home countries. They see this as a huge advantage. Why? Because who controls the underlying protocols, who controls the underlying standards of the future of money will control the future of money.
Now I'm going to test you numerology skills by asking you to think about the magic 7. Okay? Most of you will know that 7 is quite a number in all sorts of themes, religions, and I'm sure that you can compress numbers as well. So, if we think about 2014, all right, I'm just giving you 2014, you drop the 0, 14, 2 times 7. Okay, that's just by way of example, and we're going to carry on. So 2014 will be a milestone and hopefully a magic year in many respects. It will mark the 100th anniversary of the First World War back in 1914. It will mark the 70th anniversary, drop the 0, 7, of the Bretton Woods Conference that actually gave birth to the IMF. And it will be the 25th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, 25th. It will also mark the 7th anniversary of the financial market jitters that quickly turned into the greatest global economic calamity since the Great Depression. The crisis still lingers. Yet, optimism is in the air. We've left the deep freeze behind us, and the horizon looks just a bit brighter. So my hope and my wish for 2014 is that after those 7 miserable years, weak and fragile, we have 7 strong years. Now, I don't know whether the G7 will have anything to do with it, or whether it will be the G20. I certainly hope that the IMF will have something to do with it.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And guys, I come back with that video just to make you think. And I'm going to talk about Schmeats a little bit in this video, but I'm going to do a main video inside of my Patreon. Now we're going to go back to 65 and 66. 23% of the stock market wiped out. 72 to 73. 48% of the stock market wiped out, plus abortion legalized. 1979 to 80. U.S. and global recession. 86 to 87, 33% of U.S. stock market wiped out. 93 to 94, bond market crash. 2000, 2001, 37% of the U.S. stock market value wiped out, plus 9/11. 2007 to 2008, 50% of the stock market value wiped out, plus global recession. 2014 to 2015, had a minor global recession and gay marriage approved. 2021, 2022, we still have the C word. Plus, we know we're heading into a global crash. And then we have one of the New World Order puppets, Christina Lagarde, going over the power of 7. And guys, we know the New World Order are the magicians. And then we have Michael Saylor, also one of the New World Order puppets, $5 billion in Bitcoin. We know that is really Morgan Stanley. We know Michael Saylor said Bitcoin didn't stand a chance. And now he is a promoter. Microstrategy stock should be nowhere near where it's at. Now, Michael Saylor calls Bitcoin digital property. And that digital property is for the robots, algorithms, and drones. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you, because he knows. When it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Microstrategy, which is currently sitting on over $5 billion in Bitcoin. Stock seems to be mirroring some of the moves in the popular cryptocurrency. So what is Microstrategy's long-term crypto plan? Joining us now, Michael Saylor, founder and CEO of Microstrategy. When I think of Bitcoin enthusiasts and mega believers, Michael, I think of you. Does your faith ever get shaken, especially during these very volatile periods where Bitcoin has had a steep sell-off?
No, in my entire career, I've never seen anything as compelling and unstoppable as Bitcoin. I'm extraordinarily enthusiastic. There are 8 billion people on the planet that need digital property, and Bitcoin is the dominant digital property network. So if you zoom out and you ask the question, how are you going to provide economic prosperity to billions of people at the speed of light over a computer network? There's no better idea than Bitcoin.
We'll dive into that in a moment, but clearly you've put your money where your mouth is. You've issued debt to put Bitcoin on the balance sheet of the company. You know, sometimes I almost forget that it's a company. It's a software company that does what? Data intelligence? Does that become harder as a core business when you are in these periods where Bitcoin is not going up and when you're seeing big losses there on the balance sheet?
MicroStrategy stock's up by a factor of 4. Our customers are delighted. Our shareholders have made billions of dollars. Our employees are all shareholders in the company. Our attrition rate's at an all-time low. It's actually great for our brand and great for our customers and great for the enterprise. No complaints at all.
So is the long-term strategy just to keep this business as is and continue to add Bitcoin?
Look, our long-term strategy is kind of like Harvard University. We're running a university, but we have an endowment. MicroStrategy is selling enterprise software. We generate $100 million in cash flow a year in a good year. And we're reinvesting that cash in our endowment. Our endowment is 100% Bitcoin. So the balance sheet strategy is acquire and hold Bitcoin. The operating strategy is sell enterprise software everywhere else in the world.
So you mentioned your vision and why you're so bullish on Bitcoin. We just heard from Sam Bankman-Fried, who is welcoming regulation, starting, hopefully, he says, out of the U.S. this year. Is that your feeling, or do you worry that regulators could ultimately regulate it out of existence? China, for instance, banning Bitcoin mining.
No, I think actually regulation and clarity is going to be great for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is universally acknowledged as digital property. It's common property. All the question marks are around currencies and securities and platforms and exchanges. One thing that's clear is everybody on Earth wants to own property. And if you live in Africa or South America or Asia, what property would you rather own than Bitcoin? So, you know, the regulatory clarity is going to accelerate institutional adoption of Bitcoin, and you're going to see large flows of capital into the asset class as this continues.
But here's the difference with Bitcoin and property, Michael. Property, you can value it. You can see the location and the neighbors and what it's worth. How do you know, how can one determine what Bitcoin is worth? There's no balance sheet, and it really hasn't been a long-term proven asset.
If you lived in Zimbabwe, what piece of property would you rather own than Bitcoin? If you lived in Argentina and there's a 80% inflation rate, what piece of property would you rather own than Bitcoin?
Well, maybe the U.S. dollar.
Actually not. The U.S. dollar is losing 20% of its value a year, and Bitcoin's going up in value every year. So the real important thing to note about Bitcoin is that Bitcoin is a global monetary asset, which means everybody on Earth is going to have a need for that property. And it's a scarce, desirable asset. Currencies are designed to lose value. And, you know, the dollar is the strongest currency. But if you look at the lira, or take the Argentine peso, the blue dollar rate hit 209 today. It was 15 about 4 years ago. So you can't save your money in a currency. You have to actually invest in a property. And for 3/4 of the world, they can't buy the S&P index. So it's not an academic question of whether or not you buy stocks or you buy Bitcoin. you can't buy, stocks when you live in the middle of Africa or Egypt or Turkey or Lebanon.
So really,
you need property.
I get it. I get what you're saying about the developing world. Finally, and very quickly, Michael, what do you tell people out there who are now, and this chorus is growing a little bit louder, saying Bitcoin's a bubble, the liquidity from the Fed, that big tide is coming in, and it is proving to be just a speculative investment, and it's popping?
Yeah, people were skeptical of Amazon and Google and Facebook, but the next digital transformation is the digital transformation of property, money, and energy. And Bitcoin represents that transformation. So 8 billion people are going to want to move money at the speed of light on a mobile phone. What I would tell them is Bitcoin is the asset. Bitcoin is the network to move money at the speed of light. There is no other open, permissionless protocol to do it. So technology is on our side. This is the future of the internet.
Michael Saylor, it's good to have you on the show. It wouldn't be Crypto Night in America without you. Founder and CEO of Microstrategy. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.